Hi guys, Joseph here from Joe Concept. How is everything? Season's greetings to you guys. So I'm really sorry I've not been consistent lately with my tutorials just because I've been really busy. I just hope I have enough time to keep up the consistency. Just please bear with me. So let's just get into what we have for today. So in today's tutorial, we're going to be making stuff like this. I'm sure we've at one point seen an ad where you have your water going through and going around your object, then going into the bottle. So that is what we want to look at in today's tutorial, how you can make this kind of effect. So before we get into the tutorial, I would please appreciate if you like this video, if you really enjoy it, because it helps me in the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe because I do tutorials like this every time. So without further ado, let's just get into the tutorial. Okay, so we're going to start by creating an emitter, a Realflow emitter. So just circular emitter is fine. And also if you look at this emitter now, it's really large. So compared to this scene, just compare with the scene, you can tell that it's too large. So I'll just scale this down and to somewhere here. Just for now, I'm still going to scale it down. Just want to use this to explain stuff. So once I have this emitter created, I'm going to go back to the Realflow, go to my daemon. Let me just try this open because I'll be needing this. And also, I think I still need to, okay, I think that's fine. So what we want to talk about is DSpline. So I'll just go and bring in my DSpline Daemon. So because I already have a scene object here, a Realflow simulation scene object, is going to automatically do the needful, putting the scene in the scene field and also putting the fluid in the link. But then for this spline to work, it's actually need a spline object to tell where you want more of a path for the object to move. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this to explain. Go to my top view, quickly create a very simple shape. So just click one here and here and escape. Just go back to my perspective view. So if you look at this object that I've created, I'm going to bring this up and go to the scene. I want to hide this because it's really distracting. So I'll just go to the display, hide everything. So I'm just left with this. All right, so we'll use this to explain the DSpline. And so before we do that, because I want this fluid to flow through this guy, so I need to place this fluid at the start point. So I'm going to place the emitter rather at the start point. So what I'll do is just go to the emitter, right click on it, go to my 4D tags. I'm looking for align to spline. So I'm going to bring this spline into that path so the emitter will jump to this place. So I'll just quickly do a little bit of rotation to make sure I have this spline here. Okay, I have the emitter at that end. Okay, so now we are like 10% up. So the next thing we're going to do is go back to the DSpline. So the field is asking for the spline object. I'm just going to drag the spline object here. And as soon as I drag the spline object, you notice what I have. So I have all these control points. So by default, it's going to add these control points for us. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 control points. And then let's start looking at the settings here. So if you go to the DSpline Daemon object, you notice the next thing you have what you want to affect. You want to affect force or velocity. I'll leave it at force. Then you now have these 3 major controls which affect the way your fluid goes. You have your vortex, you have your axial, and you have your radial. So the vortex is more of an effect that creates more like a tornado. So you notice the tornado starts twirling from the start point, and as it goes, the wave becomes really large and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring everything to zero. Bring everything to zero and start working our way with each of these guys. So I am going to just change my view this way so that I can see what I'm having. So if I play through, you notice what I have. So the particle is just like this. So I'm also going to give myself more time to show them, and then also go to the fluid so that I can see more particles, see more of the effect. So I'll just come here, change this resolution, really make it high. All right, so you notice what we have. see the particle the way they're coming out. This is just the main default particles. You can already see this is just the default way of the particle coming out. So let's start changing the values here. So if I come to my DSpline and bring my vortex really high, vortex strength, so let's just say like 1000, and go back and play, you notice what you're going to have. You see that effect it's talking about. So depending on how wide you want your particle to go, your value would determine that. So if I bring the value to maybe like 100, just a little bit, and let's see what we have, you can see that it's beginning to go up. So that's what the vortex does. It creates this twirling effect that so you can see like a tornado, like I said. So let's look at the next one, which is the axial. So the axial is what rotates the particle itself in itself. So you notice this particle coming out, you want them to also spin around while they are coming out. That is what the axial does. So if I bring this back and make this like 1000, and let's see what we have. So if I play, so you would not really see this because it's really going really fast. So that's why we have that. So let's bring it to like 100% and 100, and let's see. So you see that, so it's more of, it's making it rotate and also sucking the whole thing. So the effect is more of the one that spins this fluid around. So if you add this to your vortex, you will start to see what I was talking about. So you have that, so you see the twirling I was talking about. So it start making it rotate around. So that's what this axial does. So now the last one, which is the radial, is what really sucks this fluid to follow that path. Because right now you notice this fluid is just going all up and it's not really following a defined path. But if I bring this up, then it really follows that path and you notice what is happening. So it's really tied to this spline object such that it follows that spline object, you notice. So it's more of an attractive force which is along the spline object. So that's what the radial does. All right, that's what it does. Then you will also, if you bring this control down, you notice you have some things here. So these are the control points, and if you feel that you don't have enough control points, you can also add control points to this. All right, so if I just say okay, add control circle, you notice it adds another one and places it at this particular location. So we're still going to get to this why it's placing them at these locations. All right, so I'm going to delete that control point. Then there is this other helper, which is there is just to help you visualize the way the fluid is being run on this path. So if I show the helper, you notice what is happening. Okay, so it's giving you more of a visual representation of how this fluid will go. So if I start bringing some of these things up, you will start to see. So I'm just going to leave this. I already have a path to explain with to create that. This is just to help us understand what this does. So quickly before we even get there, you notice each of these control splines, they have their separate vortex, axial, and radial. Then they have their radius and also the offset. So the radius is what affects the size. So you can see the size of that. So if I select this other object, you notice it has its own size. Also, I can reduce the radius. So you can actually reduce the radius or increase the radius as the case may be, depending on what you want. So what this radius does is more of will make the object not get too wider than this particular radius. So that's what it does. And also it also serves more as a search radius. So if the fluid is somewhere here within this place, can suck it in. But once the fluid is going past that radius, that means this search radius won't be able to get the fluid to suck it back in. So that's what the radius is. So you can actually use this radius. Then you now have your separate vortex, axial, and so if you feel that the general value is not enough and you want to act separately on each of these guys, you can always come to them and add more here. This is more of a multiplier thereabout. Then your offset is what tells you the position that the control is on the path. So it's really between 0 and 1. All right, so the first one, you notice the first one is at 0, which is here. So if I start bringing the offset, you see what happens. Okay, so it's really between 0 and 1. Then if you look at the last one, is at 1. So I can also bring this down. So that's pretty much what this is. And that doesn't mean you can't have more than this. Like I said earlier, you can add more by clicking on this, or by doing a control drag, you can also add more. So you notice this one I've added, I can do that here. So having this knowledge, let's go back and look at how to use our own spline object. Let us create an emitter object. So I'm going to come here, go to circle emitter. And for this circle emitter, I'm just going to right click, go to align to spline, go to this part, drag that into it so that it jumps there. So I can get rid of this. I don't need it anymore. So I'll just rotate this emitter object and then also position it just a little bit outside that spline object. And if you look at this emitter, okay, so I feel this flow is distracting, so I'll just hide the flow. And also for this for this part, I'll just select it, go to the basic, go to color. I'm going to put on the color, make it white so that it's always white. And for this scene object, I'll hide everything, go to the display, hide everything, so I'm just left with this. All right, so if we go back to the emitter, I'm going to scale this down, just reduce the scale till I'm fine with. Let me look at the value, 40, still go down a little bit. Okay, let's just round this down to 30, and I think that should do. Okay, so if we play through this goes and can go to the fluid, I will make this as pH and let's continue. Let's start with 20. All right, so that's fine. Okay, so all this is still depending on your scene, really. So the resolution and particle emission you're going to be seeing is dependent on your scene. So let's just quickly start working. We have a lot to do here. So I'm going to bring my DSpline. So once I bring the DSpline, so the DSpline is asking for an object to affect, so I'll just bring the part to this. And as soon as we do that, the first thing you notice is that all the control points are so big. So what we want to do is I'm just going to select everything, scale them down. I think scaling doesn't work actually. I'll just select everything and reduce them. So let's try 30. Okay, so 30 is still fine. So if I play through, you see the effect will not be that much because we need to go to the DSpline object. The radial is not really high. So let's just make it 2000 so that it really has strength to control the particle. So I knew we were going to run into this problem. You can see this problem. And the reason why this is not going through is because in the case of the first and the second, it's more like a linear, though it's not totally linear, but they still have a little bit of linear to it, so they can quickly communicate. But in the case of where you have all these curved parts, you will need to have more control points just to compensate for this curve. So you need to bring all these control points close to one another in order to compensate for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete every other thing except these two. I'll delete them, then I'll start working my way from this. So I'll just hold down Control, drag, and change the offset. So I think from here, so you notice from where the issue starts coming up. So it starts spreading apart from here. So we can add another point here so that also compensates for that. So I'll Control, add another one, just bring it close so that it is not really too far apart. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just going to quickly continue to do this and add control points close to one another till I get to the end. All right, so I'm going to be fast forwarding this while I do this. I don't want to bore you with all this stuff I'm doing. Okay. All right, so I am here. You can see I have a total of I think 16 points. So you can see from here I have 16 elements selected. So let's look at what we have first, and then from there we can know whether to start adding a separate forces on each of these controls. So let's just play through. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the scene, go to my solver, activate my GPU so that's kind of faster than the normal CPU rendering. So if you don't use GPU, that doesn't mean it can still go. So you can just still. Okay, so we have that, but then okay, so now the issue now is it's trying to go, but then the force is not enough to take this all the way up. So what I'll do is from the third one, I'm going to increase the radial force. So let's just from third to 14. So let's just say from this guy all the way here. Let's increase this. Let's just make it 3 and look at what we have. So if you look through, so you notice it's now going more. So we are going to also troubleshoot and look at where it's breaking apart to know what next to do. So I think at the moment it's still going on fine, and I like the irregularity in this, so I really like that. So let's just continue playing and see. So something is happening here. Okay, so I think on this guy we may need to still bring this way up. So let's just say from 10 all the way to this place, we'll make this 5. So the force on the particle will be more extreme at that point. Okay. Okay, I think from here, after this guy, there's something happening. So we actually added a pointer. So let's just, right? Okay, so this is looking fine. So I think what I can do again is to reduce their radius at this point, because the control points are now crumbling on one another. So that means this guy is trying to search, this also is trying to search and all that. So what I'll do is from here all the way down there, I'll try and bring this to like maybe 15 to reduce this so that they don't interfere with one another. All right, they don't intersect. So let's see what we have. By the time I get a decent stuff, I think I'll just call it a quit here, because the truth is you continue. Okay, so now you notice because I have reduced this, search radius is not high enough to suck that in. So what we just get back to this one and make this search radius maybe like 20 to be able to search more, and this, let's make this 20 still. So we have to continue till we get a decent result. Okay, so let's look at what we have. Okay, so that's going on fine, and okay, so something is being lost here. Okay, I think here I'll still make this, let's go a little bit up, and for the next one also let's go 30, the initial value, because now you have to now start going to each of the points to troubleshoot where the particle is losing the, or where the daemon is losing the control. So you can always go through that point and change. So here I know, so I've been able to resolve this part, but this is still going on fine. But once we get here, it's losing its power. So I'll just select this again, bring this, let's try 25 and go back and do that. Okay, so because of okay, I actually wanted to increase the time, but I really don't need that. Okay, so maybe this guy that I have here, I can increase the radial power to like 6, so it sucks in more. Okay, so this is still, some particles are still going out here, so I think I'll still take this to like 30, and so I know that you can get lost in all these settings and all that, all right, but then you for commercial purpose, if you want to do, I think this is perfect. This is fine. You would want to go for a very realistic setting, so you just want to do that. So what I'm going to do next is so if I hide this bottle for a moment, you notice that the liquid particle is just coming here and filling up the space. And the more we increase and particle is coming up, it's going to be slowing down my system. So what I want is I want to create a system where once it enters this bottle, really we're not going to be seeing anything. All right. So I just want to kill them off. So I will select this guy. I think I'll select this, reduce the radius so that it tries to suck that in more. So I'll make this like 10. Go to the last one, reduce the radius also. Make it 10. Go to this. I think this is fine. Make this 10 also. Okay. So once I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is to add a kill volume. So what the kill volume will do is meant to do is to kill anything that is outside the box. But in the case of this, I'm going to change the fall off because the box doesn't really represent this bottle well. So we're going to look for a fall off shape that represents, obviously is cylinder. So cylinder represents it well. So just increase this, scale this down a little bit. Also increase. So what we want in the case now, remember, is that for the fall off, anything that is within will be seen, but outside will go off. So if we go back and play now, you notice nothing will be seen because we've already said that everything outside it should be killed. So we want to reverse this. We just go to invert. So what that would do now is everything outside will be seen, but as soon as it gets inside this, they will be killed off. All right. So that's just, they will be killed. Don't mind me. So you have that set. And let me just quickly add other daemon so I don't waste time coming back to this. I'll just go to noise. So the noise is just to add regularity to the particle as they move. So I'll come here, go to the noise field. I think this is fine. And bring this, I think I'm just going to go with the default. And also I'm going to reduce the particle movement by using a drag. So the drag would kind of reduce the speed and try to make the particle comport themselves, so to say. So I like using that word for that. So I think at this moment I am fine with this setting. I can just go to so another thing, yeah, that's true. Another thing I'm going to do is, because I want this particle to go and move up till it fills into this and then dies off. So what I'll do is at one point I'm going to stop the emission, all right, of this emitter. So I will just go to this place. So let's just say at 70 I want to stop the I'll just keyframe the speed and move some frames forward and bring this to 0, keyframe that. So that once it gets to that position, it stops emitting and we are only left with the particle here to go and fill up that space. I think it's still too much, really. So you notice it stops emitting and this should fill up. So what I'll do really is to bring this close. I want the emission to stop faster. Stop really fast. Okay. Okay, so I'm fine with this. So we are left with this effect to go and fill up. Okay, maybe I will still bring this in. Just really want this to go off. And also, like I said I was going to reduce this. I think 2020 should also be okay. Okay, so just need just a little bit of particle, and that will continue to go up all the way, so you can already see what is happening. All right, because I know I won't have enough time, so what I'll just do is bring this all the way up to like maybe 250 till I have enough time for this to go into the bottle and just die off. So I think I like that. So let's look at what we're having. So this is going and Okay, so I think we will still get away with 300. So I think we'll get away with 300, and that is fine. So now I'm fine with this guy. I can now decide to start to add resolution to this particle. So I also want to hold this particle together, so I'll just use surface tension, maybe like 2, and bring this all the way to, like, let's say 50. Let me see what I have first, and that will determine whether I still need to add more particles. So 50 is, I think we can go to 100, let's see, before I start caching this. Okay, so you are seeing the particle now, more defined here. Okay, I think I like this already. So I will just go with this and then cache this resolution just for training purpose. I don't want to bug. Maybe I can just go 150 and just stop there. So I will go to my scene solver. I think I'm fine with this. Maybe I will bring this up and increase this resolution a bit to, like, let's try 5, and come to the cache, and I'm going to choose a cache object or a cache folder. So I think I created a folder here. So I'll just use DSpline, select. I did some cache, so let me just delete those caches so that we don't have multiple caches on it. So I will come here, just hide that just for a bit. Just hold on for me. Do this, Control A, and delete all of these cache. I don't want them. Okay, so I'm fine with that. So since I've already gotten this, so I'll just cache. So just wait for this cache to be done, then I'll be back to show us what we have. All right, so I'm here. So I'll just play through. So maybe I'll just hide these daemons to see what I have. So if you play through, this is what you get to have. Wow, this is fine. So you notice we don't have enough time, so you get the whole idea. So all you just need to do is to go back and increase the time, then resimulate that till it's ends. So this is how you would do that. And also, if you now feel you want to create a meshing, which you already know how to do, so I can just also hide this and hide this emitter. So maybe at this point I want to add a mesh to it, so I'll just go to my Realflow, add a mesh. So for the mesh, I'm just going to make this quad and make this maybe 4, and let's build this and see what we have first off. Okay, I can still go down, so let's try this. I think I can still go down. All right, so this is fine, but then I can now decide to start to smoothing this. So I will just bring this smooth value down, increase this smoothness, and also maybe introduce a little bit of thinning to it, okay, to kind of give me more of a liquid feel. Maybe I still want to bring this all the way up just to thin this. So you notice what we have. So let's say at this point, let's see what this gives me. Okay, so I think I would have to bring this back down here. All right, so let me just cache this so that we can come back and see what we have. So I just come back here, go to this, I'll go to the cache mesh, and once it's done, I'm also still going to come back. Just hold up for me. Okay. Okay, so I'm back. So if we play through, this is what we have. So you notice this is really going up. And okay, so I think what I'll do is just to pause this and just let me do a hardware rendering. So let's just say I'll be here. Okay, so I have this. So let's just say somewhere here and do a hardware rendering, then I'll be back because I don't think I have the time to do that, to wait for this. 80, make this hardware rendering, and then so I'll be back again. All right, so here you go. So this is the particle, so you can see the effect that we're looking at. All right, so you get the idea, like I was explaining, that you have to increase the timing. So this is how you would do this effect, where your liquid will go up all the way to fill up a bottle. So if you feel that this was helpful, please do give me a like and a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe to this channel because I do tutorials like this every day. So once more, season's greetings. Do have a wonderful day and God bless you. Bye.